Welcome back, Alpha Hunters, for another week. This was a nice 4-day trading week. So let's talk a little bit about what went on. We'll look at some of the SPY, some of the Q's action, and then we're going to look a little bit at oil and gas stocks because dang, that's all I can say. We'll look at that here in just a bit. But let's go into a 15-minute intraday chart, and let's just talk about kind of what went on this week. So we did have a 4-day trading week, and we did have a gap down on July the 5th. And we didn't really do anything after that gap down. We traded down just a little bit, and then we just started trading higher. We got just above even by the end of the day on Tuesday, above last Friday. So that was some pretty good price action. You still see gap downs are getting bought up. So I think it is going to be eventual that we do go higher, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. And then Wednesday, it was mostly flat. We did trade a little bit lower here on the second hour of Wednesday. And then we kind of went a little flat, just a little up until we got FOMC minutes to come out pretty much right at the midday. Got a little squirrely in there and then made a nice little bullish run. And then the last 30 minutes had a little drop. And then going into Thursday, opened higher, traded higher pretty much the whole day. Nice little bullish action going on. With Friday opening a little lower, trading up, trading down, trading up, and then pretty much closing where Thursday left off. The two big announcements that kind of came out this week were Wednesday, the FOMC minutes. And basically the Fed said, hey, we're monitoring inflation to see what we do with interest rates. So that's pretty much all they said. Not really much going on there. Then on Friday morning, we got some jobs numbers that came out, which is why we opened a little bit down. And they were pretty strong. We're still doing really good on the job side of the economy. I do know inflation is a hard issue right now with in the economy and with interest rates and the Fed and those kinds of things. But people are still getting jobs, still having strong demand on the job front. So the market's a little spooked because the market is just kind of thinking, well, if the jobs are still doing good, like, can the Fed still increase interest rates? And that was kind of part of why we did gap down a little bit. So that's why it was a little squirrely on Friday. So let's check out the daily picture. So we put in obviously a nice little 6 days of volume here for the buyers with all these green candles. And really the weakest volume days that we've seen were really these three selling candles, these bearish candles, these red candles that we had back last week. So the bulls are starting to put some money into play here. So you got to be careful, because if we pop over this candle from last Tuesday, I believe that was last Tuesday, on June the 28th, if we get above that high, you're going to expect to see the market really start pushing higher in a hurry. Okay, so we'll look at that a little bit later. The Qs, well, they pretty much did the same thing the SPY did and has been doing, but a lot stronger. Tuesday came out and they got bought up real quick. Tech was bought up pretty much all week. It was definitely the strongest part of the market the whole week. So definitely look for tech to continue to be strong going forward. Let's look at some oil and gas stuff. So let's look at the energy ETF. So on Wednesday, when the SPY and the Qs were both up very strongly, the ETF that tracks the energy sector, which is primarily dominated by oil and gas, it was getting slaughtered. It was getting absolutely slaughtered. So if we go to an intraday chart, I mean, the first 2 hours, it was just absolutely hammered. And this was after Tuesday, which had already been sold down pretty good. So expect to see some weakness in the energy side, okay, with oil and gas, as this chart pattern does not look healthy, as we've seen some strong moves in the bearish direction. A lot of people selling into this rip that it had for the most of the first half of the year. So if we just go around the board real quick, just look at some quick ones. Exxon, still following the same kind of chart pattern, but it's a little stronger. It's Exxon, the big ones in this area. That'll be pretty good. Let's look at Chevron. CVX, yeah, that one doesn't look nearly as good as Exxon. And if we look at BP, BP looks like it's been hammered pretty much the same kind of way. If we look at some refiners like VLO, Valero Energy, still doing the same kind of pattern as well. So a lot of these oil and gas names, I would highly recommend just kind of staying away from for now. I do understand that we could see some real oil strength. And so if we do start to see some oil strength, watch some of these names, because they will take off again and they can go on to a very strong parabolic move. But if you get a parabolic move on them, I would definitely be folding the cards, as we'll say. So let's go back to the SPY and let's talk about what we can expect. As you guys know, I'm really indifferent in this red zone. So as long as we're staying within this red zone, I'm not really digging anything. If we go a longer period of time, we just chop around down here, maybe I'll start to look bearish further out in time. but we're not at that point yet. So I'm expecting to see some more market strength. And if we do get above that June 28th high, which the high on the SPY was 393.16. If we get above that, I would expect to see the market really push higher. And once we get there, we can kind of reassess where we think we're going to get to before we start putting on some bearish plays. But for now, I'm just hanging out, man, just sipping on some Kool-Aid. And some of the things that you really want to do during these time periods, it's like, you know what? I don't know. Go up, go down. You really want to start cleaning up your trading, look and see where you got your best performance from. Start to, do like a lot of the back end stuff, just a lot of the data management type stuff. But one thing to really watch here with this downtrend is we do have a pretty solid downtrend that's kind of been just coming through this area. I know we talked about it before, but like somewhere in that area or somewhere in this area, it'd be kind of curious to see if we do pop over that June 28th high and we break this downtrend line, how strong the rally starts to get and where we kind of get to. That's really all I got. We're mostly just waiting. I'm going to start putting out these videos in the early parts of Saturday morning, as it just kind of gives me time on Friday to prepare kind of what my thoughts are, because sometimes those Fridays can be really tricky. We've seen a lot of those here the past several weeks. I don't want to mislead anybody one way or another, as I think about it later and it's already too late. I already put out a video. So I'll probably start waiting a little bit after the market closes, kind of gather my thoughts a little bit better, as this market's just a little bit more choppy than what we had been in the previous 12 years. So look for that coming out Saturday mornings now. But as far as going into this next week, I would expect Tuesday we probably break above that June 28th high. I don't think it'll happen Monday. I would expect Monday we gap up, we trade down, and then come back higher. And then Tuesday we break through it really strong and make a run to 400. So I would be looking out for that. That's kind of the way I would expect it to kind of go. But have a great weekend. Alrighty, take care, Alpha Hunters.